Good Monday morning and welcome to Korea Today, brought to you live from Seoul.
Seoul's defense ministry expresses regret over China's recently announced air defense identification zone overlapping Korea's existing defense jurisdiction in the area west of Jeju Island.
A record-breaking per capita GNI is projected for this year. I'll tell you more in the headlines.
And in business news, what are some growth sectors we can expect in the new year? We'll tell you on In Print.
The famous baby who created a sensation on YouTube is back. You can have a taste of her cuteness and other stories on Hot Click, so stay tuned.
Also on Korea Today, we'll take a close look at a controversial bill that aims to categorize online gaming as an addictive material and how it's creating an uproar in the gaming industry. Then later, are you craving for something new? How about pasta with grilled intestines or salted ice cream? We'll try some and tell you what it tastes like live on this Monday, November 25th, 2013.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning, you're watching Korea Today.
Good Monday morning, everyone. You're waking up to a dark and windy morning here in Seoul, and those of you on Jeju Island as well. There's a high wind advisory issued for those of you in those regions. You might find it hard to walk to your destinations because of all the winds. It's pretty strong.
That's right. Getting out there in the morning, cars were being swayed side to side because of the strong winds, and these strong winds will continue throughout the day, preferably, most likely until the early morning and mid-afternoon. We should be seeing temperatures rise a little bit, but it is going to be the last wave of the warm weather that we're going to get for the season, most likely.
Right. We're looking at a rainy day here in Seoul, too. Make sure to bring an umbrella with you on your way to work.
That's right. For more on the weather, we'll be joined by Lee Dami coming up later on Korea Today. But first, here are your headlines with Na Hyun-kyung.
In what some see as a move that could spark a territorial dispute, China announced over the weekend its newly set air defense zone. But the controversy is that some of the space overlaps with that included in the Korea Air Defense Identification Zone, or the KADIZ.
It is regrettable that China's air defense zone partially overlaps with our air defense space in the southwest of Jeju Island, included in the KADIZ. We plan on working with Beijing to prevent our national interests from being affected.
A bigger problem, analysts say, though, is the aerial space above the Korea-controlled Yeodo was included in the recently announced Chinese air defense zone. Yeodo is a submerged rock mass lying on the two countries' overlapping exclusive economic zone, some 150 kilometers southwest of Korea's southernmost Marado Island. The newly unveiled zone also includes disputed islands in the East China Sea, which China refers to as the Diaoyu Islands and Japan calls the Senkaku Islands. Lawmakers here in Korea will continue their government inquiry session this Monday. Some social, educational, and cultural issues will be on the list of questions. Now, today is the last day of the 5-day inquiry session. The issue of high school textbook revisions, as well as the poor restoration of the country's national treasure number 1, the Sungnaemun, will likely top the agenda. But another topic that's quickly becoming center of attention is the special mass that was held by a group of leftist Catholic priests. After wrapping up today's session, the legislators will start working on evaluating and reviewing and passing next year's budget proposed by the government. And more specifics on that special mass I just mentioned. It was held by a group of left-leaning Catholic priests in South Korea's southern city of Cheonju. Calling on President Park Geun-hye to step down is sending shockwaves across the political arena. The group made these demands, saying last year's presidential election was rigged, but they are facing severe opposition from conservatives, especially after a priest in the group was quoted as saying North Korea had no choice but to shell Yeonpyeongdo Island in the West Sea in 2010.
There is even criticism that those progressive priests are more like North Korea sympathizers because they've shown contradictory behavior by keeping silent about Pyongyang's three-generation family dynasty and human rights violations.
But the liberal main opposition party is taking a softer stance, partially agreeing with the priests.
The president and the ruling party to some extent caused it. If a special probe or a committee had been put together and related officials properly questioned about the allegations, this would not have happened, and that is regrettable.
Now, meanwhile, a man in his 60s was arrested Sunday after making a phone call threatening to set off explosives in the Myeongdong Cathedral in downtown Seoul. After being arrested, he said he made the call out of anger after watching the priests in the news. Korea's gross national income per capita is expected to exceed the $24,000 mark this year. The country's financial sector attributes the presumed record high per capita GNI to higher GDP, that is, and the depreciated Korean won against the greenback. Experts say slowing population growth also contributed to the rise in per capita GNI, but also warned that it will take a while until Seoul surpasses the $30,000 mark. Some predict the country will exceed that mark in 2017, but are not too hopeful because of the lowering economic growth potential, adding there are also some structural problems within the nation's finance sector that will hinder growth.
And good morning, everyone. Saturday was a pleasant day here in Seoul with a streak of sun that is aside from the smog and fine particulate matter that kept the air heavy for those who were outdoors this weekend. And on that note, let's go ahead and take a look at Choson-ilbo. It begins its series on fine particulate dust today, and the headline accompanied with the image reads, "Fine particulate dust that engulfed China's huge mountain swoops Pyeongdo Island and Seoul." In fact, the leftmost picture over there shows China's Jungtianmen on Friday, overtaken by the microscopic dust matter, recording a reading of 461 micrograms per cubic meter. Next, you can, one day later, is the reading on Korea's Pyeongdo Island was 3 times the national standard at 148 micrograms per cubic meter. And the capital city of Seoul on the same day recorded not too far beyond that, a reading of close to 131 micrograms per cubic meter. And in fact, the National Institute of Environment Research says it expects more such fine particulate matter clouds this winter as China has begun its use of coal heating this winter. All right, let's go ahead and scoot on over to Donga-ilbo. We have 2 major stories on the papers this morning, one of them stemming from the Chinese Defense Ministry's announcement on Saturday of its newly unveiled air defense zone. Now, Donga-ilbo's headline on that reads, "China's air defense zone includes Eodo and Korea-US-Japan protest." The problem with the so-called East Asia Sea Air Defense Identification Zone is that it overlaps with zones claimed by Korea and Japan. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inserted map for a view of that region that was claimed. Now, marked in red is the edge of China's claimed aerial zone, which overlaps with the southernmost edge of the Korea Air Defense Identification Zone, or KADIZ, marked in blue, measuring an area of about 1.3 times that of Jeju Island. Korea's Eodo is in fact not included in KADIZ. It's just below it. The black, meanwhile, shows Japan's claimed aerial zone, which includes the Diaoyu and Senkaku Islands right here. The article says this latest declaration out of Beijing is being seen as a move related to its ongoing territorial spat with Tokyo. Washington, meanwhile, has warned that China's unilateral move will raise the probability of misunderstanding and miscalculation. And scooting over to 중앙일보 next, the prevailing front page image you might have noticed reflects the landmark nuclear deal reached in Geneva over the weekend. 중앙일보's image title announces Iran nuclear deal reached after 10 years. That is, Iran has agreed to a temporary deal that would for 6 months curb some of its nuclear activities in return for about $7 billion worth of sanctions relief. Meanwhile, the headline below it brings us back to Korea. The domestic headline reflects our second major story for today, a story you've already heard in the headlines on statements made by liberal leading senior priest Park Chang-shin on the 3rd anniversary of the Yeonpyeong shelling. 중앙일보's headline reads, Catholic doctrines prohibit priests' political intervention, a statement, it says, made by Seoul's Archbishop Andrew Yeom-ju-sung on Sunday, apparently in reaction to the brewing controversy. He added that doing so was an act of arrogance and self-righteousness akin to acting and judging like a god. 경향신문 also has a related headline. It reads, Protestants, Buddhists also pray for a state of affairs, first state-religious clash since democratization. The article adding that Protestant and Buddhist groups will also hold events to protest the government's intervention in the last presidential race that is in the coming weeks. We'll go ahead and wrap things up with a look at Made Business newspaper. It looks forward to growth industries in 2014, and the headline reads, Semiconductors, hydrogen-powered vehicles, 4G, next generation TV. These are the sectors that Korea's top 4 conglomerates will focus on next year to usher in a growth economy that exceeds this year's performance. According to the paper, Samsung Electronics will further pursue NAND flash semiconductors. Hyundai Motors has announced it will sell a hydrogen-powered car in 2014. SK Telecom will focus on 4G communications, while LG will pour its investment dollars into premium television. All right, with that, we'll wrap your look at what's in print on this Monday. Next up are your closing numbers from Friday's market action.
Time now to get a check on the weather, but first things first. Good morning, Ji-hye. I mean, Hyung-kyung.
Oh, that was
she did that on purpose.
unexpected.
That was all planned, basically. Well, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. You know,
How was your trip?
It was good. It was
Did you miss
good 2
us?
weeks. Yes, I did. Apparently, you didn't. But I mean, it looks like the season officially changed while I was gone. I can't
Right.
believe how
Winter
dark it
is
is
here,
outside
it
right
seems
now.
like.
The days have been getting a lot shorter, and to welcome you back, so welcome again. But not the vacation, but the weather here is actually far from vacation worthy. But for a check on that, we'll go to Dami right now and see how it's going to be today. Dami, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Oh, welcome back, Hyung-kyung, and good morning, everyone. Today, I'm reporting live from Gangdong-gu, Seoul. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend, just up until we started receiving some rains on Sunday afternoon. Although it was some much-needed rain, as the air was a bit dry and we did have some dust. So because of the rain, the air has cleared out just a bit. Now, this morning, we are continuing to see signs of some drizzles. And as you can see, there are signs of quite strong winds this morning. Seoul and the surrounding or the borders around the peninsula are under gale advisories. Also in the west and east coast, there are storm warnings that have been issued. Right now, the signs of drizzles will momentarily cease in the morning. However, it will return later in the afternoon. So for those of you going out on your morning commutes, will have to bring your umbrellas for today. Now, morning lows are at 6 degrees Celsius. Our highs won't be that far off. And as a matter of fact, conditions are only just going to get colder. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers throughout the day. Seoul and Daejeon will be coolest at 7 and 8, Daegu and Gangneung at 12, Busan the warmest at 14 and Jeju at 13 degrees. Now conditions are going to start getting colder, so make sure to bundle yourselves up. That's all I have for the weather. I'll be back in the latter half.
Still ahead on Korea Today, Men at Work, Cougar Town, and King of the Nerds are just some of the comedy shows she oversees. TBS Senior Director for Comedy Programming, Jeniffer Kim, visits Korea to share her working experience and offers some advice for up-and-coming writers.
A controversial bill has ignited a heated debate on whether or not online games could be seen as a source of addiction, along with alcohol, drugs, and gambling. We'll hear from both sides with Kim Chan-ju, who's covered this story. Good morning to you.
Good morning. There has been a number of signature collection campaigns from both online and offline between those who support or object the bill for prevention, management, and treatment of addiction. That's the full name of the bill now. And so last week, 22 representatives from arts and cultural organizations have gathered for a launching ceremony of a joint committee in opposition of the bill. So let's first take a look at what this proposed bill is.
Korea's online gaming industry has grown to hold great influence in the global market, reaching billions of dollars in annual exports, contributing greatly to the country's overall export industry. Internet games provide diverse elements of entertainment and at the same time can be educational, but some voice concern about the negative impacts that they can have. This 26-year-old says he devotes over 10 hours a day to play online games. He's currently unemployed and has no social life outside of his online world.
Playing games was the only thing I could think about, and I kept playing games all night after I came home from work. That affected my working hours. So now I quit my job. I spent all my money so that I could play games even though I don't have a stable source of income.
Recently, following teenage crime caused by those with game addictions, there has been growing concern. And in the midst of this, a proposed bill at the National Assembly has stirred up some heated debate.
In order to treat and rehabilitate addicts, we need experts and special institutions. So this would be the fundamental law that would allow for the systematic management of fostering experts and institutions that are needed.
The bill proposed by lawmaker Shin Eui-jin categorizes online gaming as one of the 4 major causes of addiction, along with alcohol, drugs, and gambling. After the bill was introduced in Parliament, it has brought about heated debate from both online and offline communities.
We've seen a lot of people that do play games and enjoy games. Some people take it over the limit and they play it too much, up to the point of where their jobs, their studies, their education is affected. Some people do it responsibly and just as a hobby. So there's two different sides to this. So what is the main point of this contention, this bill, and what is this bill actually saying? What's it going to do?
Well, Young just made a very good point. The main debate is on whether internet games should be designated as a main source of addictions and whether this bill would have a negative impact on Korea's gaming industry. Now, the people who are supporting the bill estimate that there are about 333,000 people who are addicted to the 4 main addictions. That's alcohol, drugs, gambling, and the internet game. And they call for creation of a center for treatment of the internet game that will effectively manage the addiction. But in the meantime, those who are opposing the bill say that if this bill were to pass, this will affect various game-related laws, leading to various more regulations on the gaming industry and hence hurting its growth.
Right, but I understand that where it stands now, it does not entail specific changes that might be made to the online gaming industry.
That's right, Min-jung. So for the proposed bill, it only says that it will regulate the internet game as a main source of addiction when it becomes a law, but of course this has to pass the Parliament, so there has been no specific details of the measures.
So it looks like the debate will continue for some time now. How is it being received by the public, though?
Well, there was a recent poll conducted by a research firm in Korea, on whether the internet game should be seen as a main source of addiction, and the results, as we can see, more than 70% said yes. But when they were asked if they support the bill in question, the opinions varied. As you can see, the people in their 40s and older supported the bill, while those in their 20s and 30s were opposing to the bill.
So it seems like a battle between different generations, it seems like.
That's right. So generations and this, I guess, the interests of people varied according to the survey. So let's take a more look at the viewpoints from both sides.
As poll results indicate, some parent groups support the proposed bill.
Korea recognized online gaming as a source of addiction some 10 years ago. We expect there will be comprehensive surveys and research along with countermeasures for addiction. Also, if there is a specific study that focuses on the dangers on children's development, I think it will have a positive influence on our future generation.
According to the addiction medical community, online gaming addiction needs treatment, and that's why the bill is necessary for active therapy.
The number and size of children that are addicted to games has reached the point where we need to pay attention. This bill would allow for clear and easily accessible treatment, so I think we need it.
After the bill was proposed, the gaming industry has been suffering from falling stock prices, and it has strongly opposed online games being put in the same category as alcohol and drugs.
Online games are contents for entertainment. I don't understand why this culture is categorized as an addiction. And the fact that it is treated as the same as addictive substances has no validity, so I cannot accept this.
As concerns mount over the various regulations expected to be applied to the gaming industry, which leads the creative content industry, an opposition campaign has been spreading throughout the cultural sector.
The issue is not just on online games. The arts and culture industry is aware of the problem and is trying to see this from a broader perspective. Since the bill restricts personal freedom and rights, it would tighten regulations on existing laws related to online game promoting, and that's why it's expected to have a huge impact.
Those who support the bill claim that it will not regulate the gaming industry.
The bill does not target those in the online game industry, but it is for those who are addicted to online games without self-control.
The gaming industry, which is said to have been severely hit by the shutdown law and selection system of game availability period, expects to see negative impacts from the bill if it passes.
You can tell from cases that happened over the last 2 to 3 years. The Ministry of Gender Equality moved forward with the shutdown law for teenagers that had a negative image on Korea's gaming industry. That led to less investment in online games. The market is now dominated by foreign-made games.
There is a strong backlash from the opposition, saying the bill sees playing online games as a fundamental cause of complex social issues.
An addiction is very complex. The social and educational environment plays a much more important role than the game itself. To regulate online games as an addictive substance will have grave impacts, and that is our concern.
We are looking comprehensively into the reasons why children get addicted, such as looking into their backgrounds and personal surroundings. In order to safely enjoy online games, we're saying the government should legally take responsibility.
I can see a lot of concerned parents out there who are definitely, especially if they have sons or daughters who are currently studying and students and are playing video games at the same time, this could be a cause for concerns. But at the same time, you have some people who are, like I said just a little while ago, they're very responsible with this and they just keep it as a hobby. But let's get to the technicalities right now. What are the future procedures for this bill?
Well, the bill was proposed on April 30th at the Health and Welfare Committee at the National Assembly, and for this so-called the Internet Game Addiction Act to become a law, the Standing Committee has to revise this bill, and it will go over to the Legislation and Judiciary Committee to review the bill before holding the plenary session to put it to vote. But there has been, of course, a lot of debate among various groups, and the opposition party recently made a very strong objection to the bill, so we have to see how this whole thing unfolds. Yeah.
So we do have to wait and see how everything plays out,
Absolutely.
basically. And if the bill does pass, should it pass, then what kind of laws or requirements will come after that? Well, thank you for this report, Chunju.
Thank you.
Well, still ahead on Korea Today, are you sick of having the same old foods? We might have some unique dishes we'll introduce you to. If you're looking for some out-of-the-box dishes to please your palate and reinvigorate your spirit, stay tuned for some of the most interesting dishes, such as salty ice cream, rice cake pizza, and Coke with added fiber are just some of the dishes. Stay tuned.
Fiber.
Cola with fiber.
You said Coke with added fiber.
That's right. Salty ice cream, too.
I thought cola just had sugar.
All right. Well, last week, the Korean American Hollywood Mentor Seminar was held, where Korean Americans working in the American TV and film industries share their know-how and knowledge and experience with those who want to work in those industries.
And one of the participants and the speaker was Jeniffer Kim, Senior Director of Comedy Programming at TBS. She's been working in the industry for quite some time, and she had to offer us, as well as the viewers, some thoughts on what's needed in American TV if you want to work in it. The film capital of the world, Hollywood turns out motion pictures and TV programs and continues to produce successful content. We're here at the COEX to meet one of the top leaders who oversee production.
Times are changing. It's not just a white world. And I think that people want to see themselves on television and themselves in a different way. I would say a show like Sullivan and Son is really starting the movement of adding more diversity to future shows. It's continuing to inspire me to really push for diversity in our future programming and really embrace it. And even not just on screen, but even in the writer's room, hire more diverse writers. I want to empower more hiring of diverse directors and diverse production teams. That's something that's always a goal, and I hope that this show just, starts that and continues that. And there are a lot of other shows on different networks that embrace diversity, so I hope that our network can also follow those other networks.
Currently, Jeniffer Kim is the Senior Director for Comedy Programming at Turner Broadcasting System, but she has experience working for Korea Broadcasting System in her earlier career. After experiencing the addictive charms of broadcast, she chose the TV industry as her career path.
I thought I was interested in movies, but through a family connection, I ended up getting an internship at KBS. A summer of my sophomore year in college, a second year in college, and I had a wonderful time. It was really fantastic. The people were so nice to me, and I still am in contact with some of the writers to this day. And I just met a lot of great people. I learned a lot. I also learned that Koreans work very hard. The hours were late, and it just made me so encouraged and inspired by the way Korean people work and their work ethic.
Prior to her rise as a prominent figure in Hollywood, and before she was in a position to mentor others in Korea, she spoke of her experience in the TV industry and her humble beginnings as an assistant. We asked her about the competitiveness of Korea's media contents and its prospects in the global market.
I actually think Korean dramas are very creative here, and they have a way of pulling you in. And even though I don't speak Korean, when I read the subtitles, and if the subtitles are right, it's quite good, and it's very captivating. And so that's why I think Korean dramas are popular globally. I do think Korean dramas and Korean reality shows are the two formats that I feel like could be competitive in the States. There was a Korean drama that was actually just purchased by an American network called 9, and that an American producer bought the rights to the format. And so there's actually a Korean actress who's going to star in it, Kim Eui-jin, and so she's going to star in the American version of the drama 9. So in that kind of situation, I think Korean dramas and Korean reality shows would work best, but comedy's a little bit tough.
There are distinct differences between Hollywood and Korea's production development and working environment. One of the most obvious differences is that in the US, if you exceed 12 hours of work per day, you get paid overtime. But in Korea, many work as if a 30-hour run is a non-issue. So there are certain strengths and weaknesses that come from the content produced in this type of environment.
I think Koreans have a way of really kind of embracing who they are and really help change society and change people's opinions, and people become more open-minded. And because a lot of Koreans watch the same programs, in America there's so many different programs, everybody watches something different. So not a lot of people watch just like one thing, but in Korea I find that people embrace programs and everybody as a country watches it together, and I really appreciate that.
As the Senior Director of Comedy Programming at TBS, one of her main jobs is to critique and provide feedback for draft scripts and help the writers develop it for successful finalized production. In order to find good stories, she constantly meets with writers and reads hundreds, if not thousands, of scripts. So what do producers want for the next big show? When choosing her next project, Jennifer says the most important deciding factor is this.
My job is to read scripts, and I read a lot of scripts. And I find myself enjoying a script when the voice is real, the voice is organic, and it's very distinct from other scripts. And so when I come across a script like that, I find that that's great content, and I think that can go a long way. Same with drama again. It's really, it's all about the voice, it's not about the concept. And I think that's what truly makes a show unique. If a show doesn't have that unique voice, I don't think it can be successful.
Good morning, I'm Chun Sung-cho and welcome to Hot Clicks. Today we start with a story on 2014 Scholastic Ability Test, an annual college entrance exam in Korea that took place just about 3 weeks ago. On Wednesday this week, this year's test takers will be in tears of either joy or disappointment as they get to find out their test results. In the midst of this anxiety, a mixed music beat of this year's English subject test for the listening section is getting a lot of attention online. Take a listen.
안녕하십니까? 2014학년도 대학 수학 능력 시험 특기평가 안내방송 영어 영역 영어 영역 A형
It's like a remix beat that you would hear in a club.
영어 영역 대학 수학
During the 30 minutes while the listening test is administered, even airplane takeoffs and landings are banned in Korea to make sure the test takers are not disturbed. The college entrance exam is that great of a deal in Korea as it's critical in deciding one's future, but it seems like the younger generation these days don't mind turning it into a source of entertainment.
The story takes place in a forest.
Last week, one of the most popular postings on Facebook was a story of a 4th grade elementary school student posted on Busan Police Department's official Facebook page. What happened was this student went to a police station alone to turn in a wallet he found on the street. What's surprising is that the wallet contained money worth about $400 in cash. When the police told him to wait while they tried to find the owner, the boy took out a book and started studying right away in the police station. Considering his age, it's amazing he is not only conscientious to return the wallet, but also a good, hardworking student. What a bright little boy, right? Well, pictures were taken of this situation, and this praiseworthy story about his good deed was posted online by a Busan police officer. And this post has received about 145,000 likes on Facebook so far. The officer who put up the post also mentioned that she wishes to have a son like him in the future, and I definitely have to agree with him as well. Well, next we have news from the Public Service Advertising Festival that was held by the Korea Broadcast Advertising Corporation. This year, the winning piece in the students' competition is spreading like wildfire through various social media platforms. The title of this work is your answer sheet. As you see, it looks like a regular math question, and the correct calculated answer is written below. But the copy reads, perfect math score, flunked history score. Is this your answer sheet? To lead Korea into the right direction, we need to know our history first. What does this mean? Take a look at these numbers again. These numbers are actually important dates in modern history of Korea. Starting with the March 1st independence movement, there's also the August 15th Liberation Day and the May 18th Democratic Uprising. Many people online are praising this clever advertisement for bluntly addressing the reality of the education system in the country, which they say tends to put more emphasis on math rather than history. These days in Korea, there are many foods that go beyond conventional recipes. For our last segment, Trending Now, later in the show, Arirang will have a report on some unique dishes trending in Korea. But for now, we're going to look at one particular food, kimbap. Rice rolled up in a sheet of dried seaweed with various ingredients inside is the most popular picnic food in Korea. Many bloggers who take pride in having great cooking skills constantly update photos of their pretty and tasty-looking kimbap creations. But have you tried these kimbaps? Instead of kim, or dried seaweed, which is the main ingredient, here's a kimbap that uses kimchi. So with a big piece of kimchi, you add a thin layer of rice, a piece of perilla leaf, cheese and ham. And there's also kimbap with samgyeopsal, or pork belly. To make it, you put a layer of rice on a top of sheet of dried seaweed and add grilled pork belly along with some spicy sauce, chili pepper, and garlic. Oh, it sounds so yummy. It's all the ingredients that we normally combine when we eat Korean-style pork belly barbecue, so it looks like it'll taste pretty amazing. And these pictures are definitely making me hungry right now. So why don't we switch gears a little bit for our last story? I have to warn you though, contents may be too cute for some viewers. We see a lot of overnight sensations that gain fame thanks to YouTube these days. And among these YouTube celebrities is an ordinary little girl. Oh, she is so adorable. I also watch her video over and over again too, and it gets really addictive because she is so cute. She is much bigger now, but this is the famous video that turned her into a YouTube star. And this is her when she was when she was 2 years ago. When babies are sleepy, they usually get fussy or they cry. But look at this baby. When her head hits the pillow, she quickly falls asleep. But every time she sees her mom, she smiles like an angel and falls asleep right back again. If you combine the hits for all the videos of her on YouTube, they add up to over 10 million views. This is a huge achievement considering that she's just a baby and not some real celebrity. This video is getting a lot of views after it was re-uploaded to Facebook.
I think it's fair to say that she's a celebrity in her own right.
Right, exactly. Please tell me that's how all babies are like.
No, we will have to warn you. That's not true at all.
Oh, I wanted to have a daughter like her. I mean, if all the babies fall asleep like that, it wouldn't be too difficult.
I have to burst your bubble there. No, that's not going to happen.
It's just amazing. It's like a little on-off switch. Hit the pillow, off. And she just falls asleep and wakes back up.
Absolutely adorable.
Yeah, she's so excited
She kind of
too.
looks like Hyungyang, I think.
Really? Oh, wow. Thank you. After calling me Jihye.
Thank you, Sangju, for that story.
Thank you. I'll see you guys back here next Monday.
All right, now we're going to head on back over to Lee-dami, who is joining us from a very special location. We'll see what kind of an activity that she has in store.
She is ready for some badminton action,
Badminton
right?
in the rain. I hope it's not raining too much out there. Tommy, over to you.
I'm back reporting live from Gangdong-gu, Seoul at the Iljasan Indoor Gym. And right now I am surrounded by people playing badminton this morning. They are all members of the badminton club called Club X. EB stands for Early Birds Shuttlecock. So just like the name implies, the members of this club meet up every morning at 6 a.m. and plays badminton for a total of 2 hours. Now, when the club was first established, almost most of the members were all beginners. But practicing and playing every morning like this has definitely improved their skills up to the point where they can participate in badminton tournaments like the one that's hosted by the Gangdong District Office. Now, right now we're seeing some people playing badminton here this morning. They're in the middle of the game. And to tell you the truth, wow, the speed of the shuttlecock is just, it's so fast, it's kind of hard keeping track of it. Now this morning I thought that I'd go ahead and learn some of like the basic postures or how to play badminton. We have President Kim Dong-jun here with me. Good morning. 안녕하세요. 그럼 기본 자세부터 좀 가르쳐 줄 수 있을까요?
오늘 처음이시니까 가장 기본이 되는 자세부터.
Okay, so it is my first time today, and I'm going to go ahead and learn the basic posture. Okay. So first we're going to learn how to hold the racket.
다른 사람하고 같이 악수하듯이.
Oh, okay, so kind of like shaking someone's hand. All right, like the racket right here. Okay, so okay.
그다음에 가장 기본 자세는 다리를 어깨 넓이로 벌리고.
All right, so you want to keep your feet to the shoulder length and keep the handle of the racket at the eye level. Like, all right, so this is the basic procedure. Okay, posture.
우리가 치는 공이 가장 멀리 길게 치는 공을 클리어라고 하는데 클리어가 가장 기본이 돼요.
All right, so the basic step or move in badminton is clear. Okay, so this is the forehand, so it's called clear in badminton.
그거만 잘하면 최고예요.
네, 감사합니다. Okay, so he says that I can be the best player in badminton just by having, knowing these basic steps or moves. So, you know, the weather is very cold these days, and a lot of people are probably sitting indoors on the couch in your homes. Why not step outdoors, come to an indoor gym, and enjoy a game of badminton, as it's great for your health. It's a great cardio exercise, it's great for flexibility, and it really gets your muscles working as well. I'm Idami, Korea Today. 네, 그러면 한번 네. 예.
서브 넣어주세요.
네. 네. 이게 백핸드는 이거였나요?
Well, speaking of badminton, Lee Young-dae and Yoo Yeon-sung won the Hong Kong Open over the weekend, so congratulations to them. But another big event this weekend, as the season's last LPGA event, the CME Group title holders took place over the weekend. Now, all eyes on Park In-bi's quest for win number 7 on the season and also Lydia Ko's professional debut. Now, Park In-bi going into the final round, time for 9th place, starts off great, but a long way to catch up. The 25-year-old shoots a 4-under on the day, finishing off with 11 under par overall. Good enough to clinch this year's top earnings as well, adding to the LPGA Player of the Year honor she already secured. Meanwhile, 16-year-old Lydia Ko finishes off her pro debut shooting a 4-under as she's set to cash in her first prize money. And now moving on to some Sunday's K-League Classic action as Gyeongnam FC snuck past Jeju United 1-0 in a rather quiet match, but our next match was anything but quiet as we take a look at FC Seoul take on Busan I-Park on Seoul Citizens Day at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Of course, going into the match here, we fast forward over to the 26th minute of the match. Guess who it is? It's Dejan Damjanovic. Drills one past the goalkeeper here. His 16th goal of the season, and FC Seoul is up 1-0. 41st minute, this time it's going to be Ha Dae-sung who pokes one past Kim Gi-young, and already FC Seoul up 2-0. Things aren't looking too good for Busan in this match, but a ray of hope as Han Ji-ho in the 46th minute scores Busan's first goal of the match, and it's 2-1. But here we go once again, FC Seoul getting another chance. This time in the 78th minute, a foul called on Kim Gi-young, and Daehan will take a spot kick, and he converts it. 5 goals in 2 matches and his 17th of the season. Meanwhile, Yang Dong-hyun scores in the 90th minute for Busan, but a bit too late as FC Seoul hangs on to take this match 3-2, your final. And shifting over to the English Premier League, where Kim Bo-kyung of Cardiff City scored his first goal of the season and against Manchester United. Now, the goal came in 90 plus 1 minute, helping Cardiff draw against Man United 2-2. So with that said, taking a look at some Sunday's KBL action, Dongbu Promi end their 12-game losing streak, beating the Seoul SK Knights 80-75. So congratulations to them. And Samsung Thunders beat the struggling Anyang KGC 78-66. So with that said, let's take a look at Incheon Itilan Elephants take on KT Sonic Boom. Going into the game here, first quarter of the game, Anthony Richardson puts up 10 points for KT, but Incheon still takes a 16-14 lead. Second quarter, Incheon with 5 different players scoring in the quarter as they go into halftime with a 37-31 lead. Second half, Incheon continues to cruise through, but KT starts rallying in the fourth quarter of the game, but the rally comes a bit too late as Incheon hangs on to take this game 67-63. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
You can let your imagination run wild with this segment. We're going to introduce you to some of the funkiest foods you might have heard of.
That's right. These might be off the shelves, but people morph it and do something new and create a whole new product. And some of these companies that manufacture these food products are actually taking notice and changing it into different things. Audrey Young has more. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, to gain attention, companies and restaurants are coming out with new fusion dishes and unique products. And not only are these products tasting good, but they're also adding new elements of fun. Let's have a look. Children and their mothers are spending a peaceful afternoon together. But what's this? It looks like a beer party has just begun.
This is non-alcoholic beer. I heard about it one day, so I tried it out, and now I drink it often because it's quite tasty. Since my friend is here, we'll drink it together.
This beer may lack alcohol, but it has the bitter but refreshing taste of ordinary beer.
오 진짜 맥주 같아. 약간 이게 신기해.
Beer without alcohol.
알코올 없는 어떻게 이런 맛이 나냐?
Why?
I can't drink because I am currently breastfeeding, but I can drink this non-alcoholic beer without worrying.
So technically you could feed it to your kids, but although that's not recommended.
This one is a rice burger made with rice instead of bread buns. And just like japaguri, which was a mix of 2 different instant noodles, many of these snacks are grabbing people's attention. What would carbonated green tea soda taste like? There's also incheonmi pizza, where the dough is made with Korean rice cake. And the Coke with added fiber that is marketed as a diet drink.
That one's
I'm
a
very
mystery,
interested
right?
in. And these days, there are many products that are good for the body that taste great as well.
In this era, out-of-the-box products are becoming a trend. By enjoying these fusion treats, people can feel unique and special. So these snacks will help speed up that evolution.
This is Myeongdong, one of the busiest streets in Seoul. Here, we put together some unique foods to find out which dishes people would be most interested in. And these are the results.
왜 이거 선택하신 거예요? I was curious to see what the carbonated tasting green tea would be like.
I assume it will taste salty, but I'm still curious how it will taste with ice cream.
Now we're going to check out some of these dishes. I'm here at the Tomato Shabu Shabu restaurant and I'm excited to check it out. Let's go. This restaurant's most popular dish is shabu shabu with tomato base broth. Ordinary shabu shabu usually comes with savory stock made with beef or seafood. Okay, the soup is boiling right now, so I'm going to just put in. We'll start off with the vegetables. I love.
The viewers can't see me right now, but my head is severely tilted.
So how does this taste? The meat. Finally.
Sensed a little bit of hesitation there. But
I was just enjoying
So,
and savoring
how was
it. Well, it has a sweet and sour taste
I
that
can
gets
see
your
why the
appetite
tomato
going.
shabu shabu was voted as the #1 most interesting dish to try out. And definitely after trying the unique flavor of both the tomato-based soup and in a risotto style, it's definitely something that I would encourage you to try out for yourself.
This restaurant also offers a unique dish that many people are curious about, so we went into the kitchen. What do you think's in the pan?
I'm making beef intestine pasta for those who normally can't eat intestines to try out.
I love gopchang,
I love
but I
gopchang.
don't know with pasta.
I've never thought about it in pasta.
So that's grilled beef intestines, as you said, gopchang, or intestine stew, which is popularly enjoyed by Koreans. But how does it taste when paired with a Western dish such as pasta?
I actually think pretty good.
The beef intestine pasta is ready.
Good, but,
We'll have to go check it out ourselves.
right.
This dish was developed to better fit the tastes of Koreans who like spicy food. If you look into various traditional foods, many have already seen transformation with elements from other cultures. Kimchi is no exception. Prior to the 16th century, kimchi was white because there was no chili powder in Korea. It was only after the 18th century that it became the kimchi we love and know today. So budae-jjigae is also a fusion dish of Korean kimchi and Western ham. And jjajangmyeon is also fusion food. In some ways, most dishes in the world are a combination of various cuisines and varying ingredients, just like the ice cream we found here. This is salted ice cream.
One salted popcorn ice cream, please.
Popcorn ice cream.
I read somewhere on the internet that salted ice cream was delicious, so I came to see what ice cream dipped in salt would taste like.
Wow, that's a fancy ice cream.
This is a nice sundae. About 900 calories right there.
The combination of sweet ice cream and salt. It's hard to imagine how it could taste. But you enjoy it by mixing ice cream with salt or by dipping
Ice
it
cream
in.
dipped in salt tastes very unique.
I don't know what the unique means.
Well, the salt actually accentuates the sweetness and flavor of the ice cream.
Okay.
I think the customers first ordered sea salt ice cream out of curiosity, but now I think they order it for its taste.
So the sugar wasn't enough.
Foods that taste good come with added benefits and fun factors, continue to lure in consumers, and the evolution of food will continue with the changes over time.
You know, the funny thing is I've been to that restaurant,
Oh.
the restaurant that serves the
Wow.
salt ice
But you
cream, and I've
didn't-
never tried it.
Well, these are some unique food products that we saw in the report. We look at the rice burger. This is the
burger.
sparkling green tea, as well as
The fiber-
Coke with
the fiber cola.
Right.
Mm.
I wanted to try this, so
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
wanted to.
And Young, would you like to try that?
You know, there's
has
no alcohol in it,
I'll
so
serve you
How
that.
interesting.
How
But
about
it's,
technically,
it's really popular among women who
Are you going straight from
have
the
just
can?
given birth.
That's right.
And have to breastfeed because it has no alcohol. I'm just going to go ahead and
I'll serve you.
Since it's okay for us to try this because
On the
it
show
has no
right
alcohol,
now,
right?
so it's all good. You're not
It's all
drinking
good.
on the job.
Let's see if it tastes anything like real beer.
oh, it looks good.
Cheers to that, by the way.
Smells good.
There you
Here we
go.
go to drinking on air live
Well,
at
this zero-
7:53 a.m.
Well, this 0% alcohol beer has been on the market for 8 months and already has sold over 6 million cans.
Are you sold? Yeah.
Well, it's missing the tang. It's missing that extra little tang.
that kick, right?
Well, it's proved to be popular because it has actually exceeded 6 million cans being sold, which is actually 3 times more than what they initially estimated. How about you guys try this donut? It's baked. These are baked donuts.
Okay, baked donuts. Now, this is kind
so
of
that's a little
healthier,
healthier.
I would imagine. Let's go ahead. Go. Try some.
That's
also
been
been
wanting
extremely
to
popular.
taste the.
But you have no cup though, right?
Yeah, I don't have a cup. That's the problem. I'll just take a.
Here,
I don't
This
think
is
that's gonna work,
good.
Minjo.
Here you go.
This is like a cupcake.
Okay.
It tastes good. I like this.
Yeah, and so this is actually, within 3 weeks of its release, it has been sold like 100,000 units. So you can see that these type of foods are becoming very popular.
Right,
They're
and
so
for
unique.
those who are in the food and beverage industry, it's like tapping into a blue ocean. It's like an area that they've never tried, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, because you know, people have to understand the trends of what people want. You know, that we're living in an era where food is not necessarily about survival. You know, now it's about choices and what we enjoy. And companies are trying to tap into that, and so they need to strive to be, you know, they have the strategy of what should we do with this, and so they have to be, I guess, think outside the box to really appeal to the customers now, consumers these days.
We all knew that the market was competitive, but fiber Coke, I mean, come on.
How does it taste like?
It tastes
is
like
it any
regular
good?
Coke, surprisingly. Yeah, it's good.
But it's good for your diet, so.
I don't know if it's the combination of the beer and the Coke, but it tastes good. It tastes unique.
All right, sounds good. There's a few alternatives, and these the manufacturers and the companies have actually listened to some of the demands of the consumers.
Okay, well, thank you, Audrey, for this story, and thank you for the donuts.
Enjoy.
All right, that's all from us this Monday morning.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. So cheers to that. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.